this is Katie from Katie Vegas, wanting to share with you my most recent passion, which is big stitch Tunisian crochet, and I'm going to go into that with you in these videos. Thank you for coming and watching, and see you in a minute. I got together with my wonderful artist friend Rule James, and between the two of us we created these great wonderful big hooks. We start out with, I have 5 sizes available. These hooks are the double-ended solid wood, hand carved, hand sanded, hand polished Tunisian crochet hooks with a stopper. This allows it to be used as a 1- or 2-ended hook. If you're using it one end or even one way, you can stop your yarn from going off the other end with the stopper. It's really great. Or you can take it out and work the 2 colors back and forth. For instruction on Tunisian crochet, I'll show you a few sample stitches. I'm going to sample you or show you a few with the large hooks. So now back to this. I'm going to set these aside. Easy to do. To do a slip starts out with a slip knot. So you want to take your fingers, wrap this around with your tail going behind. Then pull this down so it's behind the loop. Pull it through. Then hold on to both of these and pull up a slip knot. Now this will move back and forth. So you put your hook in there, and you want to pull it up so it's snug, not too tight so it can move, but so it's not sloppy. And now I'm also going to show you something on this that makes for a wonderful edge. So just like in crocheting, or just as in crocheting, you want to do a chain. And I think we'll just use a sampler of 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And to start this out, instead of just going through as you normally would in the second chain from hook and going through just one loop like this, we're going to turn it over and find the bump on the back of the stitch. And we're going to go through that. And I'll show you at the end what a beautiful little edge this gives you on the bottom, consistent edge. So you go through and pull up a loop. Here's the next bump. I don't know about you guys, but as I get older, this big yarn and the big hook sure makes the visibility easier. And then here's the next one. That's 3. This is 4. And you can see that I use my left hand a lot too, and I'm not a left-hander, I'm a right-hander. But I kind of do more of a stabilization thing with the right hand and the big hook, and then use my left hand to do most of the work. Or I switch back and forth, whatever feels the most comfortable at the time. So that's 6. Be sure you stay with the bumps on the back. And this big yarn, it's easy to see. It's not always so easy in a textural yarn, or smaller certainly. Okay, here's the next one. The first row is always the toughest. This is the forward portion of the Tunisian stitch. Every row of a Tunisian stitch has a forward and a reverse. Those two, the process of those two gives you 1 row of Tunisian crochet. So that's 8, 3, 6, 7, 8. Here's the next bump. 9. And it looks like I had 1 more on there than I wanted. So here's 10. Just as well that happened, because I can show you it's just simple as pie. Better too many than too few. And you can just take this and pull it out. and pull up your next. Now you just have 10, just a longer tail. So that worked fine. Now, in the first, or in the reverse part of the Tunisian row, you always want to yarn over and pull through 1. The reason is if you yarn over and pulled through 2, you would actually be decreasing because you would be making 2 stitches into 1. By yarning over and going through 1, you're keeping your count straight because the next stitch is to yarn over and go through 2. But since you did the 1, you have that 1 to give away each time. I don't know if that sounds clear, but now we have 2. And you want to always count. Pull through 2. After that first yarn over, pull through 1, all the rest are yarn over, pull through 2. If you're doing just the simple stitching, you're not doing any lace work or whatever. So here you go. You want to make sure you always want to count because it's very easy to get off and then you have a lopsided piece. So yarn over, pull through 2. This is 8 and 9 and 10. Okay, that's just to get it started, but I want to show you by going through the bump you end up with this beautiful little edge. Normally you would only have this, and then it has the tendency when you pick it up to do some nice edge of pulling and leaving gaps. By going through the bump on that first row, you leave yourself actually a lovely crochet to go into, or just to leave it nice and stabilized on the bottom. But if you want to pick this up and do fringe or something, it makes it very, very nice, very easy. Okay. Now from this point, you're going to decide what stitch you want to make. In this case, I'm going to show you, first I'm going to show you the simple stitch with this great big hook. It's just the same for no matter what size, but you can see it so easily on here. You have the first loop is still active. You're always going to have at least 1 loop on the hook. So this first one is already used by that first stitch. The second one, you see, you look for these horizontal bars. There's always 1 in the front and 1 in the back. If you look through here, it's got 1 on the back. For the simple stitch, you want to go through that vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 3, yarn over, pull up a loop. And you can see all the way across. All these vertical bars that were created when you pulled that first row through. So you're going to go, this is 4. And you can get very fast. I'm just going kind of nice and slow so you can see it easily. Anybody can do this. I'm kind of resting one end on the table, or it could be on the sofa or on my lap or whatever. And you can go back and forth making one hand dominant or the other. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. The last stitch on this row, you can see, has like 3 bars. To get this nice edge, you want to go have the 1 in the back and have 2 on the top. Yarn over, pull through a loop. That's your last stitch. So you can see we have 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Important, important, important. Always count in Tunisian crochet. Now see how fast that was? Now you yarn over, go through 1 on the way back, which I explained earlier. Then yarn over, go through 2. I just want to get 2 or 3 rows on here so you can see what they look like. This is, again, the simple stitch. You kind of have to get up there. Now, you also want a big enough needle that it doesn't make your work roll. Tunisian crochet has a tendency to roll up on you, like this. Well, if it's a big enough needle for the yarn you're using, you can see you can pull it and it'll flatten out, which will and stay nice. If it's too tight, you can't flatten it out. I'm going to do one more row of this simple stitch so you can see what it looks like, then I'm going to show you another stitch. Okay, so as talked about before, this first one goes with the first loop that's still active from the previous row. Then you're going to go through or under the horizontal bar, pull up a loop, under, pull up a loop, under, pull up a loop, under, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And remember the last stitch has 3. You want to put your finger here so you can get the 2 on top, 1 behind, wiggle that through, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's your last stitch. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now let's see if you can see this stitch and what it looks like. It has these nice little horizontal bars, and this is the standard old-fashioned Tunisian Afghan stitch. Now I'll show you some variations, and I'm going to leave it in this yarn so that you can see, really see easily what's happening, and leave it on this size hook. I'll show you samples of other things in a little while with a little more complex yarns and different size hooks, but to show you these basic stitches. That's the simple stitch. Now we're going to do the returns. So we have a yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you can see that 10 stitches in this great big yarn is really a very nice wide scarf length. To make a matching hat, you would simply take your tape measure and see how many stitches make an inch. In this case, with this hook and this yarn, I believe it's 1 stitch an inch. This is about 10 inches. And it's a little less than an inch in the row. So that's your simple stitch. That's what it looks like. I'll show you later how you would finish that last row. But that's the simple stitch.